the big manipulation in the silver market goes back to 1873. It's
Wow.
150 years old, and it's pretending that silver isn't money and the dollar isn't money. And right now that seems to be true because nobody uses money as, in a transaction, use credit. This is what Alistair McLeod said to me in an interview that I had with him on my channel. Like, everything is credit, and he's right.
Yeah.
Everything is credit until credit doesn't work. I would like to see gold and silver head up higher and higher, faster and faster, but I don't think a tariff is what's going to get us there. It's just going to be the fiscal situation and the monetary situation aside from the tariff. The tariffs are just an outside annoyance that we got to get around. So I wouldn't be too encouraged that tariffs are what's going to get us to the end game. They might speed it up a little bit, but other things are more important than that.
As of mid-2025, gold and silver pricing are fluctuating. Although inflation is coming down, especially in the US, gold is still in positive territory. The increased national debt is a growing concern in the US and EU, which often boosts demand for precious metals, driving their prices to new highs. Endgame investor Rafi Farber points out a puzzle. If central banks trust their vaults, why is so much gold and silver still sitting in New York? He suspects that the gold stored in New York's vaults belongs to elite investors, such as JPMorgan or Bank of America. With another Fed money printing wave looming, he says they're quietly stashing 2 to 4% in bullion as a safety net. The global gold market operates on a massive scale, with over $1.1 trillion in gold bars stored in vaults underpinning trading activities in New York and London alone. This enormous repository of wealth doesn't simply sit static. It represents the foundation of a dynamic, interconnected trading system. In his analysis, Rafi argues the real silver manipulation isn't in the daily spoofing headlines. It's a deception that began in 1873. We live in a world fueled by credit, but when that engine stalls and trust in the Fed gives way, silver's role as true money will resurface. The silver market is experiencing a perfect storm of supply constraints and growing demand that has led to a significant market imbalance. This imbalance has contributed to silver's impressive performance, with prices rising approximately 28% year to date, making it one of the best performing commodities in the current market. Gold has been stuck in its longest consolidation since early 2025, but don't let the recent price swings fool you. The drama surrounding potential gold tariffs from a Trump presidency is creating market whiplash. But according to analyst Rafi Farber, this isn't a real rally. Before we dive into Rafi Farber's sharp insights from his latest interview, make sure to hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you never miss a moment when truth meets the market. Let's get into it.
Well, if I were a central bank and I wanted to hold gold, why would I hold it in New York?
Right.
Like, I would hold it in my vaults, in my central bank vaults in whatever country I'm in. I wouldn't stand for delivery in New York. So the only thing that I could see that parties that would stand for delivery in New York and hold the gold there, because we're not seeing gold and silver drain out of New York. They're still in the vault system. They could be for registered for sale against contracts, or they could take them out, but they're still in the vaults. They're not moving anywhere.
Right.
Like, if you check the amount of gold and silver, I think silver is at record highs above 500,000,000 ounces, and gold is slightly below that, but it's still higher than it's been in since the 1970s until COVID. So if we just reason out in our brains, like, who would be holding gold in New York in the form of warrants, but not take it out? So what I would think is it would be either high net worth individuals, maybe some big bank like JPMorgan or Bank of America, or a combination of big banks that are nervous about what's going to happen to the dollar after the Fed starts its next QE round, which is imminent. It's going to be within the next few weeks. So whether it's big banks or ultra high net worth clients doesn't really make a difference, because neither of them are looking to move it out or take it into their own personal safes. So I would guess it's the big banks mostly, and high net worth clients that their financial advisors say, like, we don't know what's going to happen to the dollar, so just have your real estate portfolios, have your farmland portfolios, and whatever else you have, and put like 2, 3, 4% in gold bullion, and just like store it in New York in case we don't know what's going to happen to those other assets. That's what I guess it would be. Otherwise, you'd see the bullion moving out, which we're not seeing. I believe that manipulators in the silver market are small fry. In terms of the people that are, let's say, spoofing the futures market and then selling or something like that to make a quick buck. I don't think that really matters that much with the price. I'm not saying it's great, and I'm not saying it's fine. I'm saying I don't really care about it that much. The big manipulation in the silver market goes back to 1873. It's
Wow.
150 years old, and it's pretending that silver isn't money and the dollar isn't money. And right now that seems to be true because nobody uses money as, in a transaction, use credit. This is what Alistair McLeod said to me in an interview that I had with him on my channel. Like, everything is credit, and he's right. Everything is credit until credit doesn't work because you can keep borrowing money from your friend for so long until he says he cuts you off. So that's the same with it, with the issuer of credit, which is the Federal Reserve. And no, the Federal Reserve isn't going to cut anybody off, but they'll stop. But the world is going to cut off the Fed, right? On top of the Fed itself, which is much more powerful than Warren Buffett, is the entire planet, which is even more powerful than the Fed. So when credit no longer works, that's when money it has to be used in trading, and that will end the silver manipulation, which goes back to 1873. That's what we're looking at. Oh, we've been in consolidation for what, since March or April now.
Yeah.
So I think we're about 4 months in, and this is about as long as consolidations have been since the beginning of 2025, which is when Trump got elected. So, I mean, the practical application of that, or the practical effect of that on the gold market, was like a whole bunch of gold was going to be imported into the United States because of tariff fears. And then we have, are there gold tariffs? Are there not gold tariffs? One day there are, one day there are, and then Trump comes out with an announcement that there aren't. And in my opinion, it's not that the tariffs would have an immediate impact on gold and silver, even if they were applied or not. They would just have an effect on gold trading liquidity. Because what provides the liquidity is the spread between London and New York,
Right.
right? So a tariff, if you're gonna have an artificial price for gold because of a tariff that applies when you import gold into New York, then that spread between London and New York goes away, and therefore the bullion banks, and we like to knock the bullion banks all the time, and I would agree with that. They're not legitimate, but it's not their own fault that they're not legitimate. They're just operating within a fiat system that exists on top of them. You could
Right.
say they benefit from it, fine, but still they have to operate within it, whether they benefit from it or not. So the point is that tariffs would hit the liquidity negatively that the bullion banks provide to the gold trading market. So the effect being that if there is a reason for other people to buy gold, then there will be less liquidity to operate with. So the moves in gold and silver would be much more volatile, and that's what we've been seeing. And on the day that it was announced that there were gold tariffs, all of a sudden there was humongous volatility in the gold market. It went to new all-time highs, and then down $100, and then up another $100, and the news kept changing. And this is not healthy for any market. I would like to see gold and silver head up higher and higher, faster and faster, but I don't think a tariff is what's going to get us there. It's just going to be the fiscal situation and the monetary situation aside from the tariff. The tariffs are just an outside annoyance that we got to get around. So I wouldn't be too encouraged that tariffs are what's going to get us to the end game. They might speed it up a little bit, but the other things are more important than that.
If you had the keys to the Federal Reserve, what would you do? Most people would say, try to fix it. But analyst Rafi Farber has a far more radical idea. He says the only real solution is to stop the money printing, let the system collapse, and endure the inevitable pain of a necessary depression. The US dollar is the world's primary reserve currency, trusted by governments, banks, and investors globally. But what if that trust disappears? What happens when the dollar collapses? A full collapse is unlikely, but risks remain. Although the currency strengthened 3.2% in July, recovering some of this year's depreciation, Morgan Stanley Research expects the decline to continue, possibly adding another 10% in losses by the end of next year. Moreover, Rafi argues that decades of economic distortion can't be fixed with a quick patch. But his skepticism doesn't stop at the economy. Looking at global headlines from Russia-Ukraine to Israel-Gaza, he questions how much of the narrative is real. After what he saw during the COVID pandemic, Farber says he no longer trusts the official story. Let's get back to the interview.
I'm not a politician. Like you need a politician to figure out how to, first of all, like it's like asking me the question, well, what would you do if you knew that there was an alien invasion? How would you notify everyone so that, people would be able to
Right.
calmly and collectively go to the exit doors without, killing each other? I
Right,
don't
right.
know. I don't have an answer to that. But I can tell you what I would do. It's probably not a great idea since I'm not a political leader. You need a politician like as honest as Ron Paul, but with the cunning of Netanyahu or something that is able to stay in power no matter what happens.
Right.
Like something, a combination of what you love and what you hate, and some kind of person that is able to put it together in some kind of pie that none of us can do. But I don't suspect that there's going to be a leader that is able to do that. So my solution would be just to I would take over the Fed, I would stop the printing, and I would let everything collapse. And then I would just and the most important thing to do after that is do not intervene. Aside from very bare basic law enforcement, try to stop looting and stop
Like any
mass
anarchy.
murder. Yeah, just put maybe you'd need martial law in the big cities or something like that, and to fund it with I don't know a collection of millionaires and billionaires who can fund basic law enforcement or something like that. I mean, it's not pretty what's going to happen. So you're asking me how to control it? I don't know. I just know it has to happen. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure when I watch the news, and I try not to, what is real and what isn't, but just the general feeling that I have and what I'm seeing from the little snippets is that there's war everywhere. Like everything's
Yeah.
erupting in war. There's Russia and Ukraine is just one part of it. There's Israel and Gaza, and Germany is falling apart. There's a housing crisis in Germany right now.
Never know what happens with China next. And
Yeah, there's China threatening to invade Taiwan. Iran is saying that Israel's about to bomb it again. It looks like there's Cambodia and Thailand now.
yeah, that's
I,
crazy.
I mean, and I can't tell if this is all just part of the narrative to like confuse me, and none of it is actually happening. No, I think some of it's happening. I can't tell what, and I don't really care anymore because I've
Right.
seen what they did in COVID, and I know that everything that is based on something that's happening. I just don't know how much of it is actually happening.
As nations around the globe, from the BRICS to Europe, look for ways to escape the dollar's grip, the pressure is mounting. The message is clear. When trust in the system finally breaks, the shift will be fast and irreversible. When that moment comes, when the dollar's trust is gone and gold and silver reclaim center stage, will you already be positioned or will you be scrambling to catch up? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. If you find this video informative, don't forget to support our channel and turn on notifications to stay informed about our latest videos. See you in the following video.